Every year, visitors from all over the world flock to Maine, whether it's to enjoy lighthouses, lobsters, or the unhurried pace of life. Vacation land is an escape from reality. Exit 45 is an essential route for these visitors to break free. Sitting in the hustle and bustle of the city of South Portland and the town of Scarborough, Maine, this exit helps provide residents and visitors with access to Casco Bay, Peaks Island, Great Diamond, and Long Island. As the economic capital of Maine, Portland is the largest city in the state, home to roughly 67,000 people. In the midst of tourist season, Portland's population jumps into the 2 million range. As this number continues to grow each year, the Maine Turnpike Authority helped put in motion a series of projects to accommodate larger traffic volumes. These projects include 2 new ramp toll plazas and a new, higher, and wider bridge. These are all necessary upgrades to allow travelers the ease and respite they seek vacationing in the Pine Tree State. In depth, Exit 45's existing bridge needs major repair and replacement. It has been struck several times due to its low clearance height. The future bridge will be constructed approximately 6 feet higher and wider, helping trucks pass through safely without damage to the truck or the bridge. The existing tolls present along Exit 45 also need upgrades. The new configuration will replace the 703 Plaza with new north and southbound on-ramps. But bringing these projects to fruition means starting from the ground up, and the Maine Turnpike Authority needed someone to move that dirt. The Maine Turnpike Authority Exit 45 Phase 1 preload was awarded to Sargent in September of 2019. Construction on the $14 million project began a month later in October of 2019. Sargent crews immediately got to work installing traffic control signs and devices to redirect the traffic flow, making for a safer site and safer traffic pattern. After clearing trees and shrubs, crews grubbed the ramp and bridge approaches. Then the real work began on the northbound off-ramp of Exit 45 with the installation of truck access entrances at various locations. These locations consisted of 6 fill areas with their own entrances and exits available for safe truck and equipment access during the project. At the start of Stage 1, the topsoil and unsuitable soils from the project site were excavated for future gravel placement. 30 to 50 trucks were used each day to haul gravel and other materials into the site for the drainage blanket. The drainage blanket consisted of a 2 to 3 foot layer of Type D roadway gravel. This gravel helped provide a path for water to escape the clay layers, allowing the soils to consolidate and become stable enough for construction. The drainage layer was laid over the entire site. Next, with assistance from subcontractor Hayward Baker, 27,000 wick drains were installed, totaling 20 million vertical feet. 2 wick drain machines were on site in November of 2019, 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. And in December of 2019, Sargent utilized 3 wick drain machines to ensure we met the March 1st, 2020 deadline. Once the wick drains were installed, Sargent crews began hauling in preload fill for the Stage 1 fills. These fills were either Type D gravel, common borrow, or a combination of both depending on location and design. Before the preload fills were placed, crews installed more than 40 settlement platforms. These platforms were 3x3 in size and made from plywood with a pipe flange attached to a sleeve, which is then run up through the fill when placed. The platforms help determine the amount of material and rate at which it was settling. Once the platforms were installed, about 12 to 20 feet of the preload material was placed on top of the clay layers to force the water up through the wick drains and into the drainage layer. In August 2020, Sargent crews completed the preload work for Stage 1. After the first preload layer was added, Sargent crews needed to wait for the settlement of layers in order to apply the second layer. The settlement time for this process can span from 9 to 12 months. The geotechnical engineering firm of the project, Haley and Aldrich, monitored the settlement of the layers and kept in constant communication with Sargent about the settlement activity. Sargent crews wasted no time, however, using this as a chance to start the replacement of 2 water lines installed in 1949. One water line was a 36-inch line that goes through an existing 54-inch sleeve underneath the turnpike, and the other, a 24-inch line, that goes through an existing 42-inch sleeve that crosses the turnpike near the Cummings Road south of Exit 45. Sargent teamed up with the Portland Water District on this portion of the project, as well as coordinated the water line installation with another ongoing MTA project, the Mile 44 to 46 widening by Shaw Brothers. Sargent and Shaw Brothers remained in constant communication during these projects to minimize impacts and allow for maximum efficiency. Both water lines were replaced utilizing the same method. Sargent worked with the Portland Water District to revise the design slightly, which included eliminating the casing spacers, which prevented the chance that they would catch on the casing joints during the pipe pulling process. Crews fused and pulled HDPE pipe through the casing of both water lines, with each water line tackled one at a time. Sargent crews also worked with Bark Brothers of Lisbon to assist with blowing pea-stone into the waterline area. The pea-stone was installed at each end of the casing for both water lines. The 36-inch water line was fused, pulled through the new and existing casing, and included new installation of 30-inch ductile iron and then connected back to the existing main lines. Once the water lines were completed, Sargent was informed the first fill layer had settled enough for the next layer to begin. In the fall of 2020, Sargent crews were able to start the Stage 2 fills. This included 8 to 12 feet of fill at the new bridge approach locations to finish the project. Overall, Sargent placed a total of 150,000 cubic yards of common borrow and 181,000 cubic yards of sub-base gravel. Sargent completed the project on schedule in December of 2020. The preload project was the first project the Maine Turnpike Authority had put in place as part of its plan to restructure the Exit 45 interchange. The second portion of the project will include the construction of the new on- and off-ramps and construction of a new toll plaza. Shaw Brothers continues to work on the Mile 44 and 46 widening contract, which passes through the Exit 45 interchange area. This makes it difficult to move ahead with the next steps. However, with the site work of the preload project completed by Sargent, it is now possible to quickly continue with the next steps upon their completion. Sargent crews worked 30,344 man-hours without a single lost time injury or any recordables. Sargent was proud to set the groundwork for future projects to make Exit 45 safer, as well as improve the busy commute for residents and future visitors to the Pine Tree State.